Located smack dab in the middle of the United States, Nebraska is a Midwestern state known for its rolling farmlands, wide open skies, and laid-back country life. But at over 80,000 square miles, roughly the size of England, it's still one of the largest states in the country. Yet, by 2025, Nebraska will have just 1.9 million residents, less than half the population of Houston, Texas. Which begs the question, why is there so much land and so few people? Nebraska's population density is just 10 people per square mile, below most populous states like New York, with 420 people per square mile, or California with 100 people per square mile. But that's not the most surprising thing. Most of Nebraska's population is concentrated around just two major cities, Omaha and Lincoln, while the rest of the country is rural with grasslands, farms, and open space. In these areas, you can drive for hours without encountering a single town or person. To put that in perspective, compare it to Chicago, which has a density of about 12,000 people per square mile, meaning that's more than 4,600 people per square kilometer. If that password were applied to the entire size of Nebraska, the state would contain more than 900 million people, the recent population of the entire continent of Europe. But Nebraska actually has more cows than people. Nebraska isn't as wild as Alabama, but it's not as urban either. So what makes a large, flat, farmable area in the heart of the United States so deserted? To understand that, we will explore challenges that Nebraska must face. Why do so few people choose Nebraska to live in? 1. Agricultural economy. Nebraska's economy has long been rooted in agriculture, and that shapes almost everything about how its land is used and how its people live. With vast plains, fertile soil, and a central location, Nebraska is one of America's top producers of corn, soybeans, wheat, and cattle. But agriculture doesn't require crowds. It requires space, machines, and increasingly, fewer people. In the past, farms were smaller and family-run, with entire rural communities built around them. Today, farming has become highly industrialized, with large-scale operations replacing many small farms. A single modern farm can cover thousands of acres, operated by just a few workers using advanced machinery. This shift means that fewer people are needed to manage more land, leading to a steady decline in rural populations. Many small towns in Nebraska were built around agriculture, but as farms grow larger and more automated, those towns are shrinking or disappearing altogether. Local schools close, businesses shut down, and younger generations move to cities for better opportunities. What's left behind are wide-open fields, grain silos, and quiet roads stretching for miles. Second, lack of major urban centers. Another key reason Nebraska remains sparsely populated is the lack of major urban centers. Those economic and cultural magnets that typically attract people for jobs, education, and lifestyle. Across the entire state, only two cities stand out, Omaha and Lincoln. Beyond these, the rest of Nebraska is composed mostly of small towns and rural communities, many of which lack the infrastructure, career opportunities, and public services found in more urbanized regions. Unlike states such as Texas, with cities like Houston, Dallas, and Austin, or California, with Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego, Nebraska doesn't have a network of diverse, vibrant cities to support a multifaceted economy. In large metropolitan areas, people can work in finance, tech, healthcare, education, the arts, or manufacturing. But in Nebraska, outside of agriculture, education, and some public sector jobs, employment options are limited, especially in the vast areas outside Omaha and Lincoln. The absence of large cities also impacts quality of life. Many areas in Nebraska have limited access to entertainment, specialized healthcare, higher education institutions, and modern infrastructure. As a result, many young people and professionals choose to leave the state for larger, more dynamic urban centers nearby, such as Denver, Kansas City, or Minneapolis. 3. Outmigration and aging population. One of the most striking demographic trends in the state is the ongoing outmigration of young adults, especially those from rural areas. After high school, many young Nebraskans move away for college, career opportunities, or lifestyle preferences, and few return. This phenomenon, often referred to as brain drain, led to a growing imbalance, shrinking populations in rural counties and an aging population left behind. Nebraska has solid universities, such as the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, but even graduates from in-state schools often look elsewhere for employment, particularly in fields like tech, finance, media, design, or international business, which are underrepresented in Nebraska's largely agriculture-focused economy. Hospitals and services are downsizing or disappearing altogether, making these areas even less appealing for younger generations to stay. Meanwhile, the average age in many counties continues to rise, creating a demographic time bomb where fewer working-age residents are available to support a growing elderly population. This creates a cycle that's hard to break. As the population ages and declines, the local economy weakens, services diminish, and more young people leave, continuing the spiral. Some towns have tried to attract new residents through incentive programs or remote worker campaigns, but the effects have been limited. 4. Harsh weather and isolation. Besides, the state is known for its extreme weather, which can range from blistering summers to brutal winters, with temperatures regularly swinging between -20 degrees Celsius and 40 degrees Celsius. In the winter, snowstorms and blizzards can shut down roads and isolate communities for days. In the spring and summer, the Great Plains turn into Tornado Alley, where severe storms and funnel clouds are a seasonal threat. For many people, especially those used to milder or more stable climates, these conditions can be a major deterrent. The unpredictability and intensity of the weather not only affect comfort, but also impact transportation, infrastructure, and even agriculture, which is the backbone of Nebraska's economy. In addition to harsh weather, Nebraska suffers from a kind of geographic isolation. The state is landlocked, far from coastal economic hubs, and has no major global city that might draw in international attention or large-scale migration. Many rural areas are hours away from the nearest airport, hospital, or university. Public transportation is scarce, and in much of the state, you need a car to do just about anything. 5. Lack of motivation to attract residents. What's more, Nebraska struggles to attract new talent from the outside, particularly the kind of high-skilled workers, entrepreneurs, and innovators who drive modern economic growth. In a national landscape where cities compete for talent through vibrant cultural scenes, startup ecosystems, and diverse job markets, Nebraska often fails to register as a serious contender. With few major urban hubs, limited industry diversity, and a relatively insular professional network, the state offers little of the magnetic pull that draws ambitious individuals to places like Austin, Denver, or Raleigh. This disconnect is amplified by the fact that Nebraska lacks the visibility and branding that help other mid-sized cities punch above their weight. It's not widely seen as a place of upward mobility, creative opportunity, or social dynamism. For professionals in tech, finance, media, or even academia, Nebraska can appear isolated, not just geographically, but professionally and culturally. The result? While other regions actively import talent through immigration, industry expansion, and lifestyle appeal, Nebraska quietly exports it, particularly its own educated youth. Over time, this leads to a slow but persistent erosion of human capital. Fewer young professionals means fewer startups, fewer teachers and doctors in rural communities, and fewer civic leaders to sustain local institutions. 6. Low investment in current infrastructure. In today's highly connected and fast-paced world, infrastructure is more than just roads and bridges. It's the foundation that determines whether a region can grow, attract talent, and provide a high quality of life. Unfortunately, many parts of Nebraska suffer from chronic underinvestment in critical infrastructure, making it difficult for both residents and potential newcomers to see the state as a place of opportunity. In rural areas, access to high-speed internet, a modern necessity for work, education, healthcare, and business, is often slow, unreliable, or entirely unavailable. This digital divide isolates communities and discourages remote workers, entrepreneurs, and young professionals. Even in urban areas, public transportation is limited, and commuter connectivity between towns and cities is weak, making car ownership a near necessity and adding to the sense of isolation. In addition to digital and transportation shortcomings, many public facilities such as schools, hospitals, and libraries are underfunded or aging, especially outside of Omaha and Lincoln. Healthcare access in rural areas is becoming increasingly limited, with some counties lacking hospitals or even full-time physicians. Education suffers from teacher shortages and resource gaps, further weakening the state's ability to retain families and attract young professionals with children. So, why do so few people live in Nebraska? It's not because the state lacks value, far from it. Nebraska offers wide open spaces, a strong agricultural backbone, and a slower pace of life that many people cherish. But factors like limited urban centers, historical settlement patterns, a shifting job market, and the draw of coastal cities all play a role in shaping its population. Despite its low population, Nebraska quietly attracts a certain type of person, those looking for something different from the hustle and bustle of big cities. It appeals to people who value peace, open skies, and a close connection to nature. Families are drawn by the state's safety, affordable living, and strong schools. For those in agriculture or logistics, Nebraska offers meaningful career opportunities rooted in its rural economy. And for retirees, Nebraska's calm pace makes it an inviting place to settle down.